Then credibility, like how credible is your research? The finding or the work you are doing, how credible it is, how we can check. So we use the word reliability, which means, is this research replicable? So some journals ask the researchers to submit the data or mention the sources of the data so that if someone else is interested, they can replicate that research. Then consistency, earlier research design achieved the same finding, so you check the consistency. Like if I find something, is it consistent with the people who were working in more or less same thing? Or if it's something totally different. So then I need to tell why it's different. It's not necessary that I did something wrong. It's possible that what I'm doing is correct or true in my context, and someone else did something in that particular context is relevant or true in that particular context. So you need to have a story about it. And that's what we call findings. Then validity. You need to validate your finding, appropriateness of the Meyer use. The big question is like, if you ask someone about something, are you getting exactly the same thing, or that person is telling you something different? For example, as I was mentioning the example of being a local and doing a survey in that locality, and someone is telling me something and I giving it my interpretation to it, taking the advantage of being local and try to link it with the local context. So it's important to validate your tools you are using. Accuracy of the analysis of the result, it's called internal validity. So the tools I'm using, the survey questions I'm using, is it measuring the same thing which I aim for? To check for that, it's called internal validity. There are tools for checking that. Journalability, journal application of what I find, so that I can check from other literature. I could tell if it's consistent with the previous finding, if it can journalize that. So that's called external validity. So you have two validity things, internal validity and external validity. You most of the time hear these things, how you validate your result. So you can tell I did it external validity because what I found is consistent with this and this fact of what is happening around. So you can then tell, like if you did some policy intervention, you suggest some policy intervention, so you can automatically link it with the condition which it would change or which it could change, and you can justify it with the numbers. Logic, leaps and false assumptions. So as I mentioned, when you are doing a research, it's within certain circle. The circle, the brackets you are putting, is it realistic? Is it true? How truly reflective of it is the real world? Because if I am creating an imaginary world about which I am going to talk, so I may be interested in it myself, but may be of no use for policy or for researchers. So that thing is also important to consider. So the credibility of research is to look into these factors, consider these factors. As I mentioned, for validity, we have tools available, in particularly in management sciences, those people who use these surveys that has Likert scale, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scale, Likert scale. So there are tools available. There are some statistical parameters when they calculate it from the survey data and its values fall at a certain threshold, it is assumed or it is believed that now this survey or this thing is valid, or the tool you are used valid, or sometimes it's not validated, you have to drop that. So there is a long literature, long processes available. As I mentioned, the focus is not on that, so I will be skipping that discussion. Okay, moving back. So now if I could sum up this thing, it's more like we now are in position to tell what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do, and why I'm going to do it. And I have a methodology which I apply, and I will obviously come up with some results, some story, and then the things will work out. So I hope I'm making sense to you.